The broadcast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Welcome to today's Platinum Success Training webinar with your host, Todd Walters.
Thanks, Andrea. How's everyone doing? I hope you had a great holiday weekend last weekend. I took some time off. I know that many of you, there was a good bit of you that got the royal treatment from Rudy Kasuma and Nathan Clark, two mega agents with the Craig Proctor system. And both of them doing hundreds of transactions a year, 400 plus deals a year, and making millions of dollars with the system. So I want to openly thank them for volunteering to get on and share with you what's working in their businesses and that sort of thing. I know that many of you that missed that, you probably missed out on some really good tracking and reporting for your business. Everybody plays differently when you keep score. So hopefully you are keeping score, okay? So the second Tuesday of every month, we come together for some advanced lead conversion training. And this is the second Tuesday of the month. So we are going to come together for some advanced lead conversion training. So in our promo that you guys saw and the voicemail I sent you, I told you that I was going to have a couple of people on today's webinar, and we're going to talk to them about being an inside sales agent, issues that you might be having in the process, and what can we do to get more leads on the telephone and then converted to appointments, and just do an overall better job of getting more appointments from the right customers. So before we get there, you can see that I'm showing you something here that I get the opportunity to do about once a month. And this is very important. Okay, so if you're a platinum member, and many of you are, obviously being on this webinar, I know we've got some team members on, inside sales agents, and that sort of thing. So hang with me on this. This is good. Around the first of every month, we survey you. When you log in to craigproctorcoaching.com, you get a survey, pops up. This is what we want you to do. We want you to let us know if your business is up or down over the same time last year. I can't stress the importance of this enough. We want to know if you're progressing on toward what it is you want from your business. The Craig Proctor system has been very, very good to so many people. But yes, there is an implementation part of it that needs to happen in order for all of us to benefit, right? Okay, so if your business is not up over the same time last year, or if your business is up over the same time last year, either one of those, we want to know. Okay, now, if it's really up, say 50% or more, you want to let us know that so we can get you a special recognition or award, okay? So it's very important. So when you log into craigproctorcoaching.com around the first of the month, you're going to see this. So do us a favor, please fill this out. Now, another reason this helps us is that the meetings that we put together, we use information that you provide. So we'll know what the agenda needs to look like. Same thing with these webinars. Okay, based on where you are and where your business is going and where it's headed, all those things, that determines what we do agenda-wise. So please, every month, fill out these surveys and be honest about it. If your business is up, great. If it's not up, hey, let's do something about it. All right, but we don't know what to do about it if you're not letting us know. Just because you're getting more leads doesn't necessarily equal more income, as some of you know. Okay, so we don't want to be fooling ourselves just because we have a lot of business. We want to solely rely on this measurement of income for that. Okay, yes, my business is a bit down over the same time last year, but you know what? I got a bunch of new leads. Okay, well, that sounds like a high I talking to me. Is your income up over the same time last year or not? So that's very important for Craig Proctor to know. I want to know it. We wouldn't ask the question if we didn't care and need to know this. Okay, so enough about that. We're calling it measurement of progression. Is your business up or down over the same time last year? And I'm not talking about leads. We're talking about income, money, gross commission income. All right, so platinum members, there you go. So you're going to fill that out. Like if I filled it out here, business is up. Why? Better conversion of the leads. Okay, that would be like it. Transactions, I don't know the exact number, but let's say it's 150, same month 1 year ago, maybe a couple of hundred this month, okay? GCI, mucho, so whatever the numbers are, you guys fill them in there, okay? And if it's an increase of 50% or more, click yes. That's going to really, really, really provide us what we want. Make any comments you want, okay? Having some issues in area, okay? And then you submit it, and it's documented, and it's put right there on Core for us to have and see, okay? All right, great. Now, I don't know if you saw this, but we just added a brand new video right here on the dashboard. So when you log in, you're going to see this video about the Millionaire Agent Maker Conference coming up to October 10th through 12th in Anaheim, California. Your presence is required. So Platinum members, you got to be there for this thing. This is a big time game changer event. You may want to write this down, multi-day, off-site, the business planning and strategy meeting for 3 days. Multi-day, off-site business planning and strategy meeting. Remember why you come to these events. It's to work on and implement and fine-tune your big initiatives. Not a simple to-do, not like I need to modify my referral offer. This is about initiatives, big initiatives for your business. So you might write that down, quantum leap initiatives. Everybody on this webinar should have, it doesn't matter, inside sales agent, OSA, team leader, admin, everybody in your company should have several big initiatives that you're working on every quarter. 1 to as many as 7. Big quantum leap initiatives. That's how you develop an entrepreneurial enterprise, okay? Otherwise, it's just a task-driven business. People show up, they do their work, they go home. People show up, they do their work, they go home. So the more entrepreneurs you can have in this thing, at least working on projects, big initiatives, putting them implemented, it's a game changer. So the reason Platinum members, some of them have a difficult time implementing is because they're the only ones trying to implement things. Okay, so let's get more people involved in your business. So these meetings are about getting your quantum leap initiatives together. All right, great job. All right, so I'll erase that drawing. Go watch the video. You're gonna like it for sure. All right. Now I'm gonna go over here to schedule in the events tab and land the plane here and bring on my special guest. Tomorrow we have a very special meeting down here in the South. In Georgia, Marietta, Georgia, we have a meeting. It's a Platinum chapter meeting. So there's a lot of Platinum members that are coming in for this thing that can drive here. I think there's even 1 or 2 flying in. Hey, not too late to come. But if it's a bit far for you, you can still attend, but you're going to have to do it by live stream. Yes, we're going to live stream this thing starting at 1 p.m. tomorrow. Okay. So it's a bit of a charge for the live stream. No problem. You can, it's not anything you can't afford, and it'll be well worth your investment. So if you want to participate via the live stream on the meeting, view event details, and you're probably saying, well, why? What's the big deal? Like, what are you talking about? What are you doing? Well, I think I've got a little document here. It is. All right. So this is what we're going to do over the course of those 4 hours. Okay. There's about 20 or so Platinum members that are going to be on hand. And we're going to be masterminding and working on recruiting, hiring, training, and managing a sales team. In this case, a super profitable sales team. So that's admin, OSAs, ISAs, and other key people in your organization. I'm going to lead these sessions. So from the ads to try to get people to the presentations to convert them to doing business with you, the onboarding processes for all of these types of folks, and of course, the ongoing management processes. Okay, getting all you can out of the people within your organization. Okay, we're going to go through this, we're going to discuss it, we're going to mastermind it, and you're going to be looking directly at this materials and collateral, and I believe it's going to make you make your job easier in terms of running and growing your real estate business with a very efficient and productive sales team. That's what that is about. So again, if you want to watch via the live stream, go to craigproctorcoaching.com, click on Schedule and Events tab, and right here, you can see it, September 12th, view event details, and you can get registered right there for the live stream. And Adrian will send you the link for the live stream. Today, tomorrow morning, you'll get it on time. Don't worry about it. It'll come to you via email. Okay? So we're all good there. And of course, we've been promoting heavily the Millionaire Agent Maker Conference, October 10th through 12th. I'm assuming that everybody here is going to be at that. So if you haven't registered, get registered because we're going to produce a brand new, I don't know if workbook is the right word, Andrea, but it's a booklet that's kind of a guidebook, but it's a business assessment. Okay, and it's going to be unlike anything we've produced before. That will give everybody more clarity, help everybody gain more clarity that's going to be there on what their business needs to look like in the next 3 years on into the next 10 years. Okay, what needs to happen now so that I'm exactly where I want to be or even better 3 years from now. And I'm reaching my 10-year target. So if you like the idea of that, then of course your presence is required. I can't imagine not being there for that event. All righty. So that takes care of some business there. How's it been going with the Proctor Bucks, Andrea?
It has been going, I am here. It's been going really well. We're taking a little bit longer to get to our members the results as I would have liked. I'm going to try to speed that up this week, but people are doing a really good job paying attention to the webinar and answering the questions right.
Hey, let's face it. The reason there's delay is it's not because of you, it's because of me. So just so everybody knows, what we try to do is we try to send everyone on the webinar, these webinars that we do, platinum webinars, we send you after the webinar's over a little bit of a survey. It's 5 questions, and you've got to sort of watch, I shouldn't say sort of, you really got to be on the webinar to get the questions right. And the people who get them right get put into a bucket, and we spin a wheel around, and it lands on whoever's in the bucket, and we pick out a few people, based on, the spin wheel there, and boom, you get some Proctor Bucks, Proctor dollars that you can use for things like the live stream or OSA workshops or any paid thing that you need to attend. Some of these things do cost some extra. So that's what they're all about. And so if there's any delays in it, it ain't Andrea, it's me, because I'm a bit slow getting her the questions or figuring out what questions we want to ask and that sort of thing. But we'll get to it, and it'll be good. So. Is that okay, Andrea, if I take the fall for you?
Well, I was going to say you don't have to. I feel like it's more my fault, but hey, we can all take the blame. We're a team.
Yeah, you are on it. Let's say it that way. Okay. All right. So there we go. So here we are, 15 minutes into our webinar. I think I've spent 10 minutes. We started about 4:05. So I told you about 10 minutes worth of letting you know what's going on and what's coming up. Okay. So we talked about the survey. It's very important that we know if your business is going up or not every month. You got to let us know monthly. All right. Secondly, you got to show up to these live events. These are meetings. These are multi-day off-site business planning and strategy meetings. If you were a Chick-fil-A franchisee or a McDonald's franchisee and they've got a business meeting to work on the business and growth of the franchise, you would not miss those unless there was a life event of some kind, marriage, birth, something like that. So these are the same. Okay, and everyone has the opportunity to participate in the live stream of a regional meeting going on down here in Georgia. So we covered some pretty good ground today. Now, let's get on with our business of inside sales agents. So I invited a special guest on today with me, and his name is Brian Cowling. Brian, you there? Let's open up Brian's microphone there, get him going. I know he's around somewhere.
Hey.
There you go, buddy. There you go. Thank you. Yep, it is afternoon, my man, here on the East Coast for sure. So welcome to today's. Now, let me set everybody up and let you know, kind of let everyone know who Brian is. Brian is the Chief Growth Officer at our real estate company. Now, when I first met Brian, it was a long time ago. Brian, when was that?
You know what? It would have been in the early 2000s.
Okay.
Not sure
so
exactly what year, but it's
all right,
long ago.
I recruited you to come join our historic real estate sales team back in the early 2000s. You come on board and you spent some time as an outside sales agent, but then you got involved in the inside sales scene. Is that right?
That's correct. Yeah, it's interesting transition to see, what you love to do and what you're good at, and then just focus on that for a while and hone that skill.
Yeah. So I thought it would be slick to get Brian on today's webinar so he could tell you, because a lot of people, Brian, they kind of start out as an inside sales agent, believe they want to, quote, graduate to being an OSA, but you and I have the belief that the inside sales agent, Craig Brockness comes from Craig, that the inside sales agent is the bigger player on the business. That is where the rubber meets the road and the mover and shaker and make things happen. Is that right?
Yeah, if we're actually talking about a product or, what is the gasoline that makes the engine run? That's really what it is.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so let's deal with a bit, and we'll get into some role playing with people on the webinar here, right? But let's say it's a brand new inside sales agent to our system here. What's the first thing we should do to kind of get off on the right foot here and have the most success possible in the beginning? What does that look like?
Well, I get this question a lot, and it starts with identifying the person, and that really is what's the personality type that you're looking for somebody who's going to be a good ISA. And there's several different things that we can take a look at when we go there, but I think what I generally look for when I'm looking for somebody is somebody that has some experience being in a call center somewhere, maybe debt collection, and that personality type usually is a D and an S. Now, while IDs are very good on the phone, generally their tenure is about 90 minutes to 2 hours max, and they're kind of tapped out. I mean, if you think about any time that you have called or I've called, we're calling for about an hour, 90 minutes, and we've got a couple of appointments and we're on our way. So if you're looking for a more, let's say, a 4 to 6 hour shift person, I'm not a huge fan of an 8 hour shift for an inside sales because it can be grueling. But that personality type, somebody who is very friendly, but still able to ask for the order, is an S and a D.
Okay, so I'm going to write that down for everybody to see. And we've discovered that. We've had success with all kinds of personalities, no question about it. Whatever your personality is, D, I, S, C, you can be successful, right?
That's right. You can be successful. You don't want to disqualify somebody for a position just based on personality type, because people will surprise you if you just set them down in the chair and see how they do.
Okay, so we seem to get pretty good success with this. So if I'm not an SD or DS personality here, then what I would want to do is I would want to read about, what qualities that these types of personalities possess. So if I'm a high I, okay, if I'm a high C, if I'm solely a high D, or solely a high S above anything else, I would want to, again, sit down, get to craigproctorcoaching.com and read up on and get familiar with the qualities that the most successful, routinely successful ISAs have had in our history of doing things, and see what I might be missing there. Okay, and I think that is a great use of time. Again, personal growth or having a growth mindset here is required by everybody watching today's webinar. So if you're serious about growing, both personally and professionally, you will not believe that you know everything and that everything you have right now is all you need. So dig a bit deeper. Let me show some resources on that, Brian, real quick. So I'm going to go
Todd, let me add to that just real quickly, though. When we're talking about that, if you're trying to condense that down into what you're actually looking for, if I had to pick 3 words, the first one is patience. The second one is asking for the order. It's the type of person that isn't afraid to ask for the order. There's no fear there. So you combine that with patience, but then there's one more component, and that really is a lack of emotional connection to the outcome. Salespeople that are highly emotional don't do as well in the inside sales chair because they're constantly up and down. So if I was looking for 3 things in a person that I think would do good in that chair, that's 3 things that I would be looking for.
Patience, will ask for the order, and what was the other one?
Yeah, well, there would be a lack of fear in asking for the order. They'll ask for it. And then the last one is a lack of emotion, connected directly to the outcome. Salespeople who are swing high emotionally. Let's say you have a calling session where you make some calls and you book 5 appointments. They have a massive party, and they go out and they they just live it up. But then let's say they don't book any. Maybe they have 2 days where they don't. They're ready to give up. They're ready to quit. So the emotional swings back and forth. Salespeople that have that issue have trouble sitting in that chair.
Gotcha. Okay. So here's some good resources for everyone. You get to the Platinum DISC training library, and there's a lot here. So we got the Advanced Disc Training PowerPoint, and this one's pretty good. Roles and Goals. We worked on at a conference with Ike, who's a certified DISC personal concept trainer, actually, and you guys can see some of the other resources there. So just if you're looking for what do I need to know about myself and about others that can make me better at this particular job today, right? Instantly. Okay, well, there you go. So there's the Platinum Disc Training Manual, which should be required reading, and there's a disc training webinar as well. I highly recommend that if you're an ISA, an OSA team leader, that you really get in here and get familiar with these things and discover the great qualities of an ISA. Okay, good. I like that. Let's erase those drawings here and get back to where we were.
Now, along those lines, Todd, I don't know that there's any one thing that is more important in being a better salesperson and increasing conversion than the disc. I never started tracking my conversion until I came on with you. When we started tracking it, I realized that I was about 65%, which is good. But after taking disc and applying it and keeping on learning it, even still to this day, the book we just read, Stop Squatting with Your Spurs On, it's yet another adaptation or somebody else's take on the same information to help you get better. But conversion quickly went up to 9 out of 10. Listing appointments, buyer appointments, doesn't matter. So disc is huge, not just face-to-face, but there's a lot of application over the phone that you'll find in that training there.
It's funny you mentioned that book, Stop Squatting with Your Spurs On.
Right.
Craig actually gave that book to all the titanium guys. I think it was last year or the year before at one of our titanium meetings, and they looked at the book. It was like, what is this? Stop Squatting with Your Spurs On. What is this about? Because the title is so different than what you would think it would be, but I think I just said that right there. Squatting with your spurs on would be an inside sales agent who's trying to influence people over a telephone to say yes to something. That would be somebody not utilizing or getting more involved in disc training would be someone who's absolutely squatting with their spurs on. You're going to make big mistakes, man. It's going to hurt.
Yeah.
So I like that. All right. So that's great. That's great stuff right there, because I typed it out. ISAs really underutilized disc training. Okay. So don't make that mistake. Good. All right. What else?
So if we're starting at the top, once we have somebody who has come into that chair, and I'll go ahead and tell you, I'm a big fan of bringing on every OSA and giving them a chance to at least sit in that chair for a couple of days. And there's 2 reasons for that. If you take a look at about every 10 salespeople, what we've found is about 2 of those people can be good on the phone and consistent on the phone. So I don't know that until I'm giving them the shot at it. So part of the onboarding for a regular agent coming on can be to put them in that chair shadowing somebody and then giving them a shot at it. Now, here's the other benefit to that. Once they've sat in that chair and they realize, I don't like doing this, it makes the ISA position much more valuable. Now they're looking at it going, I think you'll remember when we first invented the ISA, was going to people and we're wondering what would they pay for this? And we found out that they would pay a lot more than we thought because they were doing it and realizing, I don't like this.
Mm-hmm.
So they respect the position more once they've had to sit in that chair.
Yes. And again, we believe it is a great chair. So just so everybody knows the story about Craig, well into his tenure with his real estate sales team business, number one with Remax in the world, top 10 for 15 consecutive years, something that hasn't been done by anybody else. He was the ISA, so he's working from home, time blocked several hours, several times a week to get on the phone and call back the leads. He's got his coffee, so he outproduced the other agents on his team in terms of getting appointments. He guaranteed that his team had the very thing that everybody wants, appointments. So it wasn't that Craig or myself or you, Brian, that we loved being, I love this inside sales agent gig. It was just the best way for us to guarantee that we had appointments, which is what we wanted more than anything else. So we did the work and learned from it. So I like that because a lot of people, I think, say, well, I'll be an ISA, and then if that works, if I do good there, then I'll become an OSA. No. This is a way bigger deal. And until you kind of put yourself in those shoes, maybe you don't know how big a deal it is. But it is important that the ISAs and OSAs work together. So I was doing a sales team training Skype today with John Leahy's guys. And I'm primarily talking to the OSAs in the room in a sales meeting. And I said, okay, let's start from this position. The position is that when you're handed an appointment, the prospect said yes to planning on making a move within the next 6 months. That's where this starts. And immediately, there was some chatter and questions about, whether that's the case or not. And I was like, that is the case. And if you don't know it's the case, then you need to go sit in that chair and listen to the questions being asked. And over the course of one day, you'll discover, yep, that's it. They're only booking appointments with people that say yes to planning on making a move within the next 6 months. Are you planning on making a move in the next 6 months? Yes. Well, that's who we're going to get an appointment with. Are you planning on making a move in the next 6 months? I don't know. We're not sure. We just kind of started looking. The wishy-washy guys, probably going to be following up with those. Are you planning on making a move in the next 3 to 6 months? No. It's probably next year sometime. Okay, no appointments. So get everybody on the same page. This is a team effort. I like that. That's good points there, Brian. Let's move to the next one. What else you got?
All right, so now that we've identified somebody, of course, taking the ISA training course. So that's going to be the first thing that I'm going to assign them with. I want them to understand it's going to take them through DISC training. So if you want to pull that up, lower right-hand side from the main page, right?
Yep. So I'm there, and it'll stream through. Everybody will be able to see that here momentarily. Right there on the dashboard, we have the training courses. Now, my assumption, Brian, is that everyone, all hundreds, and there are hundreds and hundreds of people on this webinar right now, all hundreds of everyone have taken these courses. So as a matter of fact, we have it set up, Brian, where if you're an OSA, you take both the courses. If you're an ISA, you take both the courses.
Exactly. Everybody takes both courses so that they can understand what's being done on both sides of the ball. Or I guess I should say both sides of the puck, right?
There you go. That's right, man. All right, so let's go to the ISA training course. I'll click on that. You can see right here, we've got, the modules. So you click on the module, and let's see what happens when we click on the module. You probably can't hear that. I can hear it in my ear, but that's Andrea talking. Welcome to the call. And Andrea, I don't know if you know this, but this is the number one module. I think is the call that we did. It was a Valentine's Day back in 2007.
Wow.
Yep. That is me, Craig, and James on an inside sales agent training call from February 14th, 2007. That is this number one module. And people may be thinking, well, why is that a big deal? It's important that everyone knows how evergreen the callback script is. That it has not worked just today. It has worked for decades. Brian, you can back me up on that.
Definitely.
Yep. So there you go. That's the ISA module. There, we'll go back to our notes.
And
so
Todd, I'll go ahead and point out as well that the biggest thing that you'll find when somebody isn't converting is that they have varied in some way from the script. I mean, it's almost a guarantee, like the bet with the Hummer. your Raptor, whatever it is, I could bet every time when somebody's not having the right conversion that in some way they've modified the script.
Yeah, it's true. I don't know what else to say about that. That one of the hardest things we do is get people to copy. I don't know why people feel the need. Like Craig recently recorded some calls of him phoning back leads that had called on some ads that he was running on Facebook. And Andrea, you guys have played those calls quite a bit for everybody. Where can I find those calls on the coaching site? Are they there, Andrea?
They are in the file library. Just search for the word follow, and they're all going to come up.
Okay, so I'm going to go to library. I click on the file library. I'm going to go to follow in the search bar, like you say. Click search, and let's see what pops up here. Here we go.
They're at the very top. 1, 2, 3.
Very top.
But yeah, the very top.
Troubleshooting guide for getting listing. What?
So they're labeled. Yeah, 1, 2, 3, and
Right
4.
here. I got them right here. Okay, that's it. I just need to read. There you go. So those are write those resource numbers down, everyone. 1977, 1976, 1975, 1974 ID numbers, and of course you could just put in follow and bring them up that way. So I just put the highlighter on them, and those are good. That's Craig calling back leads recently that that responded to ads that he had put on running on Facebook. And you can hear some of the calls successful, some of them unsuccessful, booking appointments, dealing with objections, and the like. So, and what you're going to discover is that Craig stays on script. It's not that the prospect, Brian, is not throwing curveballs at Craig. Oh, well, I don't know, I got to talk to my wife, and, we looked at a house yesterday, and it doesn't matter what the person says. Craig stays with the script. Like he's not engaging them in a conversation. He's staying very well scripted, almost robotic, but friendly. But he doesn't get thrown off his game. What does he call it? What'd you say? Hard to be pushed off the puck or something?
That's what he calls it. Yeah, hard to be pushed off the puck. And if you want, if you've got your email right there, I just sent you an image of what somebody sent me about Craig calling leads. If you, it makes a good point. And you mentioned two things. You said somewhat friendly, but almost robotic. So I'm going to go ahead and kind of clue everybody into the number one reason that people want to get off the phone with an ISA, and that is because you sound too friendly. So think about when that salesperson calls you and their pitch is too high. The first thought in your subconscious mind is, this is a salesperson. And once you've identified yourself as a salesperson, people want off the phone with you. So the way that I say hello is very important. When I ask for somebody, so let's say I'm calling you, I say, hello, is this Todd? It's a question, but it's also a statement from a position of authority. You're wondering when you hear me say, hello, this is Todd, your question in your mind is not, is he a salesman? Who is this and what does he have to tell me? He has something that he has to say. So this is very important. It kind of just is, you'll find that a lot of people have a very high ratio of people that hang up on them as soon as they say hello. Let's bring the pitch up and say, hello, is this Todd? Hey, Todd, how are you today? I'm a salesperson.
I get those calls every day, man, from somebody calling me, on my unrecognizable number or some number I don't know. And as soon as I answer,
of course,
whoa, yeah, their day must be going really well. Super excited to be talking to me. Never talked to them before. And so it's an obvious sales pitch there versus a matter of fact. I like that. That's good. So there's a lot to learn from listening to those calls that Craig did, listening to others, shadowing others that are the best ISAs out there. All right, so that's really good. All right, what else you got?
All right, so once we've taken the ISA course, you mentioned the DISC training. I'm going to go ahead and take probably the first 3 days, and it's going to be a combination of things. Watch number 1 and 2 in the ISA course, and then we're going to do some DISC training. I'm going to go ahead and play videos that can be right there in the office. I want them spending the bulk of the day learning these things, and then maybe I'll quiz them at the end of the day on things that they learn. Beyond that, at the end of day 1, I'm going to task them with 2 things. 1, memorize the offers. Memorizing the script causes people to read the script. Everything that happens before the offer is all conversational. And I don't want them to be looking at words or have words memorized. So while they need to know the things to say, it's more important that the offer is memorized. It needs to flow off the tongue in a way that just makes sense. So I need them to memorize the offers over the next couple of days. And then I'm going to also task them with, I'm going to give them a copy of the objections manual, and they're going to memorize it. So I'm going to go back to when I came on board with you. One of the most brilliant things I ever saw or had ever read in my life was the objections manual. I believe that I felt like my entire sales career, I had been arguing with people to try to get them to see things my way. And now I have in front of me a manual that when so-and-so says this, you just, hey, say this, and then go, oh, that makes sense. Okay. So the number one salesperson in the state of California in insurance said that the difference between a good salesperson and a great salesperson is the number, the quantity, and the validity of the objection handlers that are in your arsenal. So there's nothing more important. And you asked me about 2 to 3 months in, you called me in and you said, Brian, I don't know why you're doing so well so quickly. And I said, well, I memorized the entire objections manual. And you said, what do you mean? I said, well, I just put it by my bed, and every night I read the whole thing. The whole thing every night. It's not that big. You can get through it pretty quickly. But how did we memorize things when we were in school? It was just repetition.
Okay, so let's take a look then at the objections manual, so everybody knows they have access to this thing. It's the answer to every objection that you will ever hear. Okay, and it's going to be, let's see, I think we've got it in the Ultimate Sales Team Training Library. So this is good, Brian. Thanks. These are things that I haven't thought of here on these. So let's go to the objection manual. I'll find it here.
If you go down into the Platinum ISA training, look for that. It's in there.
Okay.
Scroll down on the right-hand side to the folder. It's a library, Platinum ISA Training Library.
Yeah.
Oh, you found it? Okay.
Yeah. It's there several times. So it's in the ISA Training Library. It's in the Ultimate Sales Team Training Library. This is it right here. The responses to every buyer and seller objection ever. So we've got it there. I just knew it was there from a recent workshop we were looking at it. So, yeah. I think you're right. One of the issues that we have as an inside salesperson, lead conversion specialist, is we sort of run out of things to say. We know what the most common objections are, but sometimes we get thrown these curveballs. So this is advanced lead conversion, this webinar is. That's what we do here. So you need to advance on to knowing what all the objections are. So this process started out, if I was to open this objections booklet here, it just started out with documenting all the freaking objections that would come up that we didn't know what to say. So, they raise the objection and you're like, I don't know what to say. And then later you like, I should have said that. So you kind of get tired of that over time. So we started writing down all the objections, writing down every objection, writing them down, and then writing out the answers to the objections. This is what you should have said. And like you said, Brian, you just sat down as part of your process of growth and your growth mindset and just begin to internalize these objections. You will become a better salesperson, ISA, OSA, and team leader if you will do the same thing that Brian's done here.
No, okay, I've got to highlight that too, though. As a team leader, if you have not fully internalized these objections, your team isn't going to be able to. So let me give you a case in point. I was on a recent call listening to some people role play, and somebody goes ahead and pops up with an objection and says, well, you know what? Well, first off, in the offer, they said, well, why can't I just email you a list, or would you like me to email you a list? So rule number one, don't ever use the word email in your offer. If you use the word email, obviously they're going to say, I thought you said you were going to email it to me. So that was the first mistake. And that's what the person said. Why can't you just email it to me? And they said, well, what we like to do is we like to get together face to face, and we like to, and they went into all these things. Of course, who is that a benefit for? You're telling me what you like to do. Well, I just want you to email it to me. Well, I don't know if you want to pull that up, but I mean, that's one of the first ones on there, Todd. Can't you just email it to me? And I don't like to tell anybody no, so I always start with, well, we could do that. But what we found in our experience is that rather than send you hundreds of properties that may or may not match your criteria, we can fine tune it and get it down just to the ones that are perfect for you. So what we do is we pop by for about 15 minutes, get down your wants, your needs, what's most important to you in the process of buying this home, and we plug that in, and you start getting access to things that nobody else can have access to. So you can beat out other buyers to the best deals. Plus, I'm sure you'd like to meet with me and find out if I'm even the type of person that you want sending you this kind of information, which is a really good hook right on the end because it's something they haven't considered. So I've embellished on that and probably taken about 2 or 3 different objection handlers and kind of put them all together into one, but that's the basic gist of that objection handler. They get to the end and they go, yeah, you're right. It is worth 15 minutes of my time. Let's get together.
15 minutes, man, that's like the high-D presentation.
Well, I like getting together with the idea of 15 minutes because everybody will agree to that. And then once we sit down and get talking, of course, most people will let you go longer.
Yeah. Plus, you can always qualify that when you when you book the appointment and before you hang up the phone and the what we call the appointment qualifying questions.
You can. So appointment qualifying question right towards the end. Is it okay once you figure out their personality type? Is it okay for us to allow for about 15 to 25 minutes for that? Is it okay to allow 25 to 45 minutes for that, based on what you think their personality type is?
Yep. Okay. Great. All right. So I'm learning here from Brian. Now you were pretty good at this. Like you were a good ISA, one of the best that I can recall that I've ever worked with personally, and you've trained a lot of inside sales agents, still doing it today. What are some other nuggets here that will make us better?
So the next thing is once we have them taking the courses, they're memorizing offers, reading the objections manual, we're going to go and they're going to shadow the best ISA. So if that's me, 2 hours every day, 90 minutes, whatever time that I'm already calling or my best ISA is calling, they're going to shadow them. Now there's 3 things that I want to be imprinting upon them during this shadow time. And these are very important. The first one is mindset training. Some people have trouble overcoming the idea that, let's say I have to dial 10 numbers to get 1 yes. Maybe for some people it's 15, maybe for some people it's 20. Okay, my baseline on a Google lead is a 10-to-1 ratio. I'd like to make 10 dials. Out of those 10 dials, I'm going to get 7 people that don't pick up the phone. You could pick up your cell phone right now and dial 10 numbers and you're only going to get 3 or 4 people to pick up. So they need to understand that this is the norm. No up or down. We keep the emotion out of it. The mindset is, I would like to call for around an hour and get 1 appointment per hour.
Right.
And if I'm not to that point,
let me interrupt. That's brilliant observation. A great benefit of shadowing is that the right expectations are set in the beginning, so that if I'm shadowing the very best inside sales agent, Craig Proctor, Brian Cowling here, Todd Walters, others, Christian Stampini, excellent inside sales, I'm going to see that they had to basically call 10 people and they talked to 3 of them. Wow, there's 7 of them didn't pick the phone. They got an appointment. It took about 30 minutes. Boom, they got an appointment there. That's, I think, the beauty in the shadowing, not necessarily how they're making the offers on the telephone as much as physically seeing the reality of how many people are picking up the phone, how many people are not picking up the phone. That is a great way to get this thing started. So where the way I think a lot of Platinum members are doing this when they bring on inside sales agents is they start them off by just saying, here you go, here's the phone, here's the script, and here are the leads. All right, go get them, Tiger. All right, so then they come back, an hour later, like, I called 20 people, man. I could only get like 5 people to answer the telephone. And so they think they're failing. Think they're failing, but they may actually be as we did. Now, again, it does depend, right, on where the leads are coming from. You mentioned Google, pay-per-click, or ads that are on Facebook, less branded ads like that, versus referrals and sign calls. And
so yeah, I've got different
things.
Numbers on that. Anything that is less branded or coming in from the internet, I think the ratio is generally around 10-to-1 for a baseline. For me personally, I'm about 1 in 6. I can make 6 dials, and I've done it recently. So people sit there and say, Brian, my Google leads, I can't get anybody on the phone. I can't do this. So just about 2 months ago, I had 3 guys come in, said, pull up your database, sit your computers down, just start pulling up numbers. Faster, faster. I just need numbers to call. And it's a numbers game. How fast can I call these numbers? Stop talking and give me another number. And that's what all the way through for 90 minutes, every 6 dials, I got somebody on the phone that was buying a home in the next 3 to 6 months, and we booked an appointment. Now, don't have that expectation on yourself. Have that as a goal for what you want to get to. So 2 ways to look at it. 1, I'm just not that good. 2, what's he saying that I'm not saying? How is he saying it that I'm not saying it? And that's where role play training comes in, and that's really the next step. It is 1 hour every day minimum of role play. So I've got a folder for, let's say we're training an ISA right now. I've got a folder with about, I don't know, 20, 30, I might even have about 40 role play clinics for an hour that I've done, that I've recorded me talking to people, me role playing with people. So I'm just going to go ahead and give them that and say, listen to one of these a day. And if you want to do extra credit, when you go home, listen to another one. You want to fast track yourself? The faster you can listen to these and hear and emulate how somebody else that's doing really well is doing it, the faster you're going to get good.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
So going back to the 3 things here, when you're shadowing, the first one was mindset training. The second one is mirroring. And mirroring really leads into 2 things, and that is tonality and pitch. You will almost hear what could sound like schizophrenia for a person that's really good on the phone, because they will sound different based on who they talk to. Todd, I'm going to go ahead and say I learned this from you. Listening to you talk to sellers in your office, your pace and your tone would change based on who you're talking to. So if somebody's talking faster, it's okay for me to talk faster. If they're talking slower, I have to slow it down and bring myself down to their pace, because what's the one person that everybody loves to hear more than anybody else? Themselves. Right. So when I'm shadowing, I want them to recognize that in me. There's so much nuance to that. I want them to see how my voice changes to match the pitch and the pace and the tonality of the person that I'm talking to.
Mm-hmm. Okay. I like that tip. Good one. What else you got?
All right. So that runs us into the 1 hour role play daily. And then I'm going to go ahead and let them start calling some web leads. Now, I don't know of a time that we've ever let anybody have access to incoming call leads until, I would say, they'd have to be 90 to 95% as good as me before I let them start calling my incoming calls. My incoming calls is, that's my gold. My incoming calls
referrals and
that's
USPs
right.
and things like that. Yep.
For me, the ratio changes on those. The ratio is really 1.5 to 2 out of 3. If I get 3 of those coming in, I better get 1.5 to 2 of those to an appointment. Now, my baseline for that is, let's go ahead and say if 4 people were to call me off of a sign call, you can go ahead and think that 2 of those people probably, they could be connected to an agent. So maybe we put those to the side, but could I get them away from an agent that sucks? Of course I could, if I make the right offer, if I pose the right problem, if I pose the right solution. So I think the baseline has got to be 50% on those, but I want it even higher.
Okay.
So it completely changes for that type of lead.
Right.
So I'm going to start them calling web leads.
All right. So in other words, the way that we've got this set up is that the best agents get the best leads.
That's correct.
Okay. So we play ball that way. Best agents get the best leads. So if you want the best leads, whatever that might be, then yeah, you got to become a better agent. So that's okay. I don't see anything wrong with that. Those leads are pretty easy to convert, but we can't mess them up because they come at a premium. It costs a lot more money to generate those leads,
right? A
lot more. So we can't muck them up, and we've got to be respectful of that investment. Okay, that makes sense. All right,
right.
Good.
So now that I've got them calling, it really is just a cycle that I'm going to follow. First, rather than me standing behind them listening to them, which generally changes the conversation. They're nervous. They don't do well with me standing there in their office. They get fidgety. I like to just go ahead and set them up on something like Ring Central or something else. And at the end of the day, at some point that I've put on my schedule, I'm going to go ahead and look at this. I'm looking at their call log, and I look for conversations that took, more than a couple minutes. And I'm going to spot pick a couple of those. And then we go sit down with them. I critique and I enhance. So very important, especially for the high Ds, to recognize how to be a good leader in handling this. It really is just, hey, next time, why don't we try this? Here's something they said. Here's what you said. Why don't we try this? Some leaders can come in and just make this type of person feel overwhelmed. It's just being a good leader in this point, saying, hey, let me help. Let's try this next time. Beyond that, the ongoing training is really just practicing the objections and the offers. I love walking into an inside salesperson's office and just throwing out, hey, you know what? I really don't have time to do that right now. I'm really busy. It's kind of like in football practice. You know the drill where they throw the ball on the ground? You can be over there in a water break. Coach comes by, throws the ball on the ground. What are you supposed to do? Everybody jumps on it. I don't know the hockey equivalent of that analogy. It's football season. It's football season. We got to talk about football.
All right, so I just pulled up an email here that, let's see if I can pull this up and it makes sense. Can't get it this. Let me show it to everybody. This email I got from Morgan. So Morgan, I don't know if you guys can see this. I don't know what's going on in my email there. Yep. So up in the upper left-hand corner. So here's how we got it working. ISA, when they start work, they submit what their top priorities are for the day. So they technically should send an email over, just like anybody does. Like, okay, this is my top priorities for the day. Boom, go to work. And when they wrap up the day, they report sort of just real quickly a summary on how the day went. So here's Morgan, a brand new ISA to our company, and she's my oldest daughter, and she's got probably the personality type that you mentioned, I believe, if I'm not mistaken. I think she's an S something, SD probably, yeah. So, but anyway, so she's calling nothing but leads that are not expecting a call. These are from Google and ads on Facebook. So from 10 to 1, whenever this was, the 10th. So she booked a couple of appointments yesterday. She called 29 leads, spoke to 6. Out of the 6 that she spoke to, half of them said they were planning on making a move within the next 6 months, and she got good numbers, 2 out of the 3, which is what we're after. Okay. And then she called 31 people in the afternoon and spoke to 5. None of them said they were planning on making a move within the next 6 months, and of course, no appointments. Okay, so everyone
now,
can
the interesting thing on that as a leader, Todd, is we want to go ahead and look at the source. So I know that the source on the first one is Facebook. The source on the other one is a Google pay-per-click campaign. So Facebook has a more direct offer to a direct audience. I've got to ask, is the ad that I'm running to Google not producing buyers that are buying in the next 6 months? And do I want to change the ad, right?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, unless I just want a bunch of people for future business to put into my database, which, isn't always what I want.
Okay. So let's come up with some standards here for everyone. Okay, so if you're calling back the leads and you are not reaching the leads, like there's a problem, that becomes an issue. Write that down. That's an issue. We've got to deal with that. If you are talking to people, okay, well, how many people are you talking to out of the number of people that you're calling? Keep a little note of that, because there are ways that we can get more people on the telephone, and we're getting ready to run through those tips for you here within the next 15 minutes. Okay, so be prepared for that, Brian. And out of the people that you speak to, how many people said yes to planning on moving in under 6 months? That's the tracking side of this. We're so caught up in how many appointments did we get, how many appointments did we get, but the tracking and the reporting reveals what we need to do with the leads and the training. So Morgan's brand new. She's been doing this for a month, and she's able to get 2 out of 3 people to say yes to an appointment if they're moving in under 6 months. It just works like clockwork. And we've put her through the same training here that we're going through right now. There's nothing that we haven't done with her. She's brand new, a month into it, and she can get 2 to 4 appointments a day as long as we're getting her on the phone with people and she's talking to people that are planning on making a move. They're going to be appointments. It's predictable. When it's not predictable, she can't reach the leads because the leads aren't reachable. That's information we need to know. She's talking to a bunch of leads that they're not planning on moving in the next 6 months. That's something we need to know. Okay. And we're able to make some adjustments. So you can see that we're doing that with our tracking reporting. So I would hope everybody's doing the same get-go. All right.
Yes, Todd, I call that viable prospects. I really, out of the amount of leads that were called, how many were buying in the next 3 to 6 months, and can I convert those? Forget everything else. I mean, once somebody says yes to buying in the next 3 to 6 months, you know the strength of your ISA by how many of those they got to say yes to them.
Okay. All right. So now let's talk, because we're running out of time here. We've been on this for a long time. And I like to role play with one or two. So Andrea, you can find me some people who want to role play. You guys raise your hand. We'll get you on. We'll try to deal with some questions here, and we'll wrap this thing up in about 20 minutes. Getting people on the telephone, calling them, trying to get more people to answer the telephone. What are some things that we're doing here to make a difference?
Well, we've recently started testing something new where we would take a slide aisle and kind of reverse the funnel here. Let's say we have 100 people over the course of the week that we've not been able to get on the phone. What if we can take those and do a reverse offer to them to say, let's say they're buying in Marietta. Hey, we just noticed that 2 properties that exactly match your criteria came up in the Marietta area. We'd like to get you that information. Please call me at this number and I'll get that to you right away. That would be one message that we've tested. We're continuing to test different ones to see if we can flip that funnel and get the people that are the most interested in buying that we've not been able to reach to call us.
Mm-hmm. We have our traditional methods too. Call, hang up, call again.
That's right. That's a good one.
Yep. If you do leave a message, it's like, hey, Brian, this is Todd. Call me, 770-355-8010. Thanks.
I like that one as well. And then make the voicemail. The voicemail is very generic. So if they do call back and I'm not available, it doesn't identify me as a real estate agent or salesperson. So whatever voicemail that is set up on, it just we've got it set up for Morgan. It says, hey, this is Morgan. Sorry, I missed your call. Leave me a message.
I like that. Okay, so there's some pretty good tips there. Andrea, are there any questions that we haven't answered that people are throwing out there along the way here? I'm having a difficult time keeping up with them.
We do have a lot of questions. One question that came up a lot, and it's more of a request, is there any way our Platinum members can hear some of those recordings that Brian was talking about?
Yep, we were going to set that up today actually, but I was going to have Morgan on the webinar day. I had it all worked up, but she had an appointment she didn't get to. We were going to play some of those, a couple of those recorded calls from a brand new ISA that's been in it a month, actually booking appointments. So we'll find those and we'll share those along with the notes here on today's call, because there's a few other things that we're going to get to here if everybody wants to stick around. What else we got?
Well, and just as a heads up, if maybe our members haven't realized, we've been sending out a brief and sometimes a longer than brief summary that is included in our survey result winner email and on Facebook. So if you haven't seen those summaries, it gives you all of the IDs we talk about for resources. It's probably going to include this resource that we're going to send with it. So I'd go back on Facebook or your email, or if you can't find it, email me, Andrea@craigproctor.com, and I can send you some of those summaries from these past webinars we've been doing.
Mm-hmm.
So let's see. Clint asks, how many unanswered calls do you give a follow-up prospect once you've spoken to before moving on?
Brian?
You know what? That's a good question, because I've gone into people's databases and I'll see 25, 35 calls to the same person. And I'm of the mindset, do we think they're going to magically pick up the phone one time? So the path that we follow is first call, they don't answer, we double tap. We hit them again, back to back, and sometimes people will pick up that phone. Important thing, you never, ever act like you're bothering somebody. So if you are apologetic in any way for that second call for anything, I'm not bothering you. You called me. You need something and I have it. That's the attitude of every ISA that is successful. I'm not bothering you. So we do the double tap. If that was a morning call, we'll call again in the afternoon. So during the week, I want to hit them 2 different days, in morning and afternoon, and maybe even evening. So track the times that you're calling. If you've done that 2 days during the week, now try on a weekend. If we don't get them at that point, they're going to go ahead and be tagged with something that we could pull up and try to retarget in some way. Let's say we have not tried this yet, but I've thought about the idea of just retargeting on Facebook. If they came in through Facebook, we can retarget them on Facebook. So we'll start throwing ads at them again that are more targeted based on what they clicked on the first time. So I think that could be a good strategy.
Okay, there you go. Yeah, eventually you give up on the leads. You're just not reaching. I get it. But that's just when the team leader needs to step in here and try some various things with some mass text, like you mentioned, Brian, slide broadcast, slide text, whatever, slide text, text to video, but just try some different things with these leads that are difficult to answer the telephone. Now, I would be one of those guys. It's just, you're just probably not going to get me on the telephone. You can call a bunch, but boom, I get a text that says, man, I've been trying to reach you about some houses that I think you'd be interested in. Just give me a call back. And then you probably got me. I get it. So that's strong stuff there. What else? Any other questions there, Andrea, that we didn't get answered?
Yes, this one. Hi, Todd. Where can I find buyer follow-up email messages or text messages?
What was that again? Where can I what?
Where can I find buyer follow-up email messages or text messages?
Yeah. They're on the coaching side. We don't really, talk about that much because, especially on ISA training calls, I'll tell everybody for the record why. Get with your coach on that first of all, and they'll tell you where that information is. Since we've got a bunch of ISAs on the call, we want the calls to be made. We would prefer that to be done at the team leader level. So we don't want the calls being replaced because we haven't been. Here we are, 25 years later, and we have not been able to replace the calls. All right, we can't replace the calls. We must make the calls to get people on the telephone, book appointment. We just haven't been able to replace. We've got to help ourselves with some mass messaging, but it is never, ever, ever has it been a replacement for the calls. So I'll send that and answer that for all the Platinum team leaders. Let them all know where that information is. No problem. I'll send it out with this document. Okay. Anything else here before we do a couple of role plays?
Yes. We have Lisa. Do you track the number of follow-up calls that occur after 6 months that you're able to book appointments with and close?
I don't think it's a bad idea any tracking is good.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's a good question.
I like what Todd's saying, though. Instead of the ISA being responsible for any texting or emailing, keep them on the phone. Keep them targeted. It's number of dials. Keep dialing, hitting. And for all the ones that you're not able to get in touch with, they should be labeled with something, or the pipeline should identify those people. And then the team leader can say, hey, how can we retarget those either by email, by text, to get them to call us?
All right, here's a couple of other things, and then we'll do a couple of quick role plays here. And this is something that I think many Platinum members are doing that I've been tracking. And this, the ISA, as soon as they hang up the phone with the appointment, they send the appointment confirmation email. Got it. ISA also sends voice text message. So imagine me sending you, Brian, a voice text message. So I'm texting you, but I'm just recording it into my phone, click and send it to you. That's had a pretty good impact on increasing show up and stick rates doing it that way. It's just different. And I like different for sure. And ISA actually sending the recorded call with the prospect on the appointment that was booked to the OSA, because we get the outside sales agent second guessing what happened on the phone. And the outside sales agent wants to get on the phone again with the prospect and redo the appointment that we've already got booked, because I get it. They don't want to show up and it not be an appointment or something goes wrong, So, but if they had booked the appointment themselves, they wouldn't do that. So pretty simple. Just send them a link to the call. And then they're like, oh, okay, well, I'm good to go. I just got to show up. So that's been some pretty good stuff with technology that we're able to infuse with the system as well. Any comments on that?
That's another expectation there, and that's an OSA expectation. It is horribly wrong for an OSA to start questioning the appointments. They need to have trust in each other. They need to understand that 20% to 30% of the appointments that are set are either going to reschedule, or you might have some that don't show up. That doesn't mean that you're going to start calling everyone to re-qualify or even over-qualify. So you'll see that a lot where OSAs start to lose faith in something just because a couple of people didn't show up. And that's really, the term down here in the South is preaching to the choir. It happens once or twice. You don't start yelling at everybody because, one or two things went wrong here or there. So track your percentages, understand that certain people aren't going to show up. But in regards to these messages you're talking about, really the last thing that I had on my outline here as I was thinking about this was constantly working on what I call your hooks. If you have good hooks, you have good stick. And the best hook that you can use across the board, and you'll hear me say it on the phone more than anything I say, is I'm really excited to go ahead and get you started on this so that you can beat out other buyers to the best deals. That's my close. When I talk about the time again, when we talk about the confirmation, guys, this is great. I'm excited for you to get you ready to beat out other buyers to the best deals because, okay, we know the answer to the question. Nobody ever says, no, I really don't want to beat out other buyers to the best deals. So if we can enhance our hooks throughout the process, and I think the best analogy, and I'll go ahead and share this real quick and then we can do some role play or whatever, but the best analogy that I can give any ISA on what they're doing with the script, forget everything else you're doing and think about what you're trying to do. If I'm going into the department store and I'm looking at the rack of clothes and somebody walks up to me and says, can I help you? And of course we say the obligatory, no thanks, I'm just looking. Well, that's exactly what we were looking for. We were looking for somebody that was looking for clothes. So the question is, what will make me buy a shirt? I'm looking at the rack. I need to know that you have the perfect shirt. So if the salesperson says, what are your two favorite brands? Or the analogy would be the favorite things you're looking for in a house. And I say, well, guys, Polo and Ralph Lauren, that's what I'm looking for. And he says, you know what? I've got a room over here that not many people get into. It's a private room, secret room for people just like you. Everything in that room is those two brands and everything's in your size. Would you like me to get you in there? I can get you in that room. Everybody says yes to that offer. There's nobody that doesn't. So if we can get away from just the words on paper and connect with that feeling of that's what we're offering, then we can hook more people. It's an incredible hook when you think about it. Mm-hmm. I have access to things that you can't get anywhere else. You're probably searching on Zillow or somewhere online right now and finding that every time you call about a good deal, it's already gone. Am I right? Everybody says yes. Well, how would you like to get into the back room and get access to things before everybody else?
Yeah, that's good. That's good language and good analogy for sure. And it seems it's kind of hard not to get appointments when we can keep these folks on the phone a little bit longer.
Yes.
So it's just a matter of that we sort of run out of things to say or good language to make our point. So all this is really good. I did highlight there for everybody to see on craigproctorcoaching.com. This is on, I think, in the follow-up systems library, Platinum follow-up systems library, the buyer appointment qualifying and the seller appointment qualifying scripts. While you have them on the telephone, they say yes to the appointment. Now what? Before you hang up the phone, we're going to qualify the appointment. I'd go and pull those if you guys don't have those. That's what we're using. It's what most Platinum members here that are engaged in the system is what they use. It pretty much starts the beginning of the appointment starts the file, starts the process. So check those out, give those a go. Let's do a couple of role plays here and give that a go. So Andrea, let's see if we got any takers that want to role play a little bit with me or Brian.
You got it. We have William Johnson with his hand raised.
There is this one. I have two people.
Whoa.
Oh, that was an accident on my end. Okay. But I'm having trouble getting yourself muted, William. Did you want to role play with us?
Yes. Sorry about that. Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Hello? Okay.
Hey.
Great.
Okay, so yep, how you doing, buddy? So why don't we do this? I'll let Brian be the prospect. You be the super mega inside sales agent, and you guys have at it. Brian, take it away.
So I'm the prospect. I'll just be a. You want me to be a sign call? You want me to be a web lead? Which one?
Let's go with the sign call. Let's go with the sign call.
All right. So I'm calling you. Ring, ring.
Hello, William Johnson on the telephone.
Hey, I'm calling about this house over here. It's got a house on, I think it was Main Street, right on the corner. Big yellow house.
Okay. Oh yeah. Okay, great. No problem. Are you calling for yourself, or are you calling for somebody else?
Well, it's me calling, right?
All right. Okay. So you're interested in buying the house for yourself?
Yeah. I really. What does that house cost? What are they asking for that house?
It's $270,000. Are you looking to purchase a house in the next 3 to 6 months, or are you just starting to shop around right now?
We're looking around. Probably going to buy, whenever we find something.
Okay. And are you currently working with an agent right now?
What does that mean?
Do you have an agent who is sending you properties right now, or are you just browsing on the internet on your own?
There's a couple of agents that send me some stuff, but I haven't seen anything I like.
Okay, great. So our client who's selling this house has respectfully asked that all buyers that they provide pre-authorization, that they've already been pre-authorized by a financial institution for the amount that they're asking for the property. Have you already gone ahead and done that? Okay.
All right. So I got to stop you. You're on your fifth qualifying question, and you've yet to make me an offer. So I don't want to be on the phone. Okay. So once you know I'm buying in the next 3 to 6 months, you need to give me something that's going to keep me on the phone, which would be think about it.
Okay.
Do I want to beat out other buyers for the best deals? First off, what personality type am I?
You seem to be pretty D.
I'm being a little bit aggressive, very D. So once you know that, you're going to bow up a little bit. You're going to bring your presence a little bit more to the table, because if I feel like I'm running over you, I don't want your help. So not being rude, but it's okay now for you to be a little bit more to bring your presence up, because you know I'm a D. And you're going to go ahead and offer me something that's going to blow my socks off and tell me I can beat out other buyers to the best deals. And so let's go ahead and start with your offer, because that's going to be the important part that's going to suck me in.
Okay, so Brian, how would you like for me to send you all the properties from all the different real estate companies that perfectly match exactly what you're looking for as soon as they come on the market? You'll be getting sort of like a quasi agent access, like myself. This is going to include foreclosed homes, bank repos, same thing, and also other properties that are very difficult to find on the internet. This way you can beat out all the other buyers to the best deals. Is that something that you think might be helpful to you?
Yeah. Go ahead and send it over. My email address is brian@yhsgr.com.
When do you think you might have about 15 minutes so we can just pop on by and take down exactly what you're looking for?
I thought you said you could send it to me. I'm looking for a 4 bedrooms. I want to be right in that area where that yellow house is. Maybe within 10 minutes. I work right around the corner.
Well, listen, we want to do a really good job for you. Mm-hmm. And what we found is we can take about 10 or 15 minutes. We have a form that we fill out that takes down all of your criteria. This way we make sure that you don't spend too much time looking through a whole bunch of prior properties that may or may not match what you're looking for. This is going to make sure that you just receive properties that are perfectly targeted to the types that you're looking for. And this way we're going to make sure that we send that off to you and don't waste any time. We're pretty flexible. It can be evenings, weekends, during the day. which one's better for you?
All right, so that was good. That was good. The hook at the end for a D is time. Okay, so every D wants to save time. I'm sure that you'd like to save time, and you got around to that, so that was good. Now,
Right.
on your offer, when you start your offer, don't start it with, would you like me to send you, would you like me to email you, would you like me to give you a list? Here's how I start the offer. I start the offer with saying, well, you know what, the reason why I ask you about that is, and I throw in these pauses, the ums, I throw in everything because I'm trying to not identify myself as a salesperson. Slow down. Go ahead and get a bottle of water sitting right here at your desk. Take a sip of the water. It's okay. A pause is okay. And I sound less like a salesperson because I'm not rushing it. So the reason why I ask you that is, William, we created a system. We created a system that will automatically notify you of every property that's available that matches your criteria as soon as it hits the market, from other agents, from other companies, doesn't matter. So you get instant notification to beat out other buyers to the best deals. Now, that's not it. Just so you know, there's no cost, no obligation for using this. It's something we created because we realized that some people out there were having trouble finding something online. And the system also highlights distress sales, foreclosures, and off-market properties that you won't see on Zillow, Kijiji, or anywhere else. Now, William, does that sound like something that would help you with your home search?
Yeah, sounds great. Please set me up with that, please.
Okay, so you notice the difference between the offer there. Slowing the pace a little bit, putting some pauses in, some emphasis on the words that are going to mean the most.
Okay.
And I tell him that I created and invented something that nobody else has.
Okay.
Proprietary system. People want that. People don't trust people. They trust systems and processes and software. People won't trust you, but they'll download an app on their phone in a heartbeat. Right?
Okay, and let's say, just for argument's sake, let's say after that I still want to come and see the property.
Oh, sure. So one of our best strategies on let's say a sign call, you still want to see the property, I'll book the appointment first. So, hey, William, what's a good time for you? When do you want to see that property?
Well, I'm available tomorrow around noon, if that works.
Tomorrow at noon. I'm looking at my schedule here. That actually works out. Now, William, were you just interested in that property? Or would you also be interested? I'm looking at 2 other properties in that same area. You know what? One of them here looks like it might even be a better deal than that one. Were you interested in just that property or others that are similar as well?
Well, I was really I saw that one. I guess I might be interested in it as well, but that was the one that
of course. Yeah, you like that one. You want to get a little bit more information on it. Sure. Okay, so why don't we do this? Why don't we get together? Right over there in that area, there is a Starbucks on the corner. And I know you want this information on, especially this property that might be a better deal. Why don't we meet at 12 o'clock there? And I'm going to bring in a couple of these properties and access to that one as well. And I want to show you a little bit about that system I just told you about. Why don't we spend about 15 minutes doing that, and then we'll take a look at that house. How does that sound?
That sounds perfect. If this goes by, I just got to be back at my job around 1. So as long as we take care of it before.
Hey, you know what? We're going to do this really quickly, but I'm sure you'd agree that you really want to get access to beat out other buyers to the best deals, right? Worth about 15 minutes to go ahead and get that taken care of, isn't it?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay. So I'm sure you'd agree. It's called leading the witness.
You know, you already got the appointment, to go and show the property, because that's what they really, really, really want to do. So you got nothing to lose by taking a stab at an offer to give them access to other houses. So I think that's excellent. So yeah,
so
sometimes
our approach on that is to push for the appointment before. If they say no to the before, we're going to push for, hey, once we see the house, can I go ahead and talk to you a little bit for about 5 to 10 minutes to go ahead and show you how to get access to and go ahead and make the offer again. So I'm going to do that one there at the house, on the kitchen counter, on the trunk of my car, doesn't matter. At least we got the appointment from an high D who wouldn't normally give us that sit down appointment, but I have leverage. I have something he wants to see. Okay. But I'm asking for the time. If you don't ask for the time, you don't have the appointment. Okay, so once
Okay.
we see the house, would it be okay to allow for about 5 to 10 minutes? And I've got my D presentation, which is a 5 to 7 minute presentation, just hitting the high points of why you need me, why you need this system.
Okay. Hey, great job. Great job, guys. That's pretty good stuff, Brian.
Thanks.
And so, yeah.
Some excellent material there. Thank you.
Thanks, man. All right, so we'll make sure that we get these notes out to everybody. And we're pretty much out of time here. We're way over our budget with most everybody. But yes, that was a good webinar, Brian. I want to thank you for giving us gold nuggets here based on your experiences here with a lot of people. You know, I talked to a lot of these platinum members pretty consistently, you know, on these webinars, and sometimes they forget that there actually is a real estate business kind of behind the scenes. There are other people involved, you being one of them, and many others. So being able to see and hear how it's working and what's working well. We have the same challenges, we have the same issues, but the one thing that we're really good at is by sticking to the process of what works, and we don't deviate from it. So that's what I wanted to accomplish on today's webinar. I think we've done that for sure. So thanks a lot, dude. Really appreciate it.
My pleasure.
Yeah, man. So, all right, so here's what's going to happen next. We're going to take these notes, I'm going to get them out to everybody that was on the webinar today. Andrea is going to help me do that. So I get them all up here. So have at it. The resources are there for you on craigparkercoaching.com. And it's very important that all of the team leaders get registered for the Millionaire Agent Maker Conference, which is a multi-day offsite business planning and strategy meeting. My expectation is that everyone is going to be there, unless there's some life event that's, you know, keeping it from happening. But yes, everyone's going to be there. Go and watch the video, and let me know what you think about it. Shai worked pretty hard on it. It's pretty good, and you know, check it out. Feel free to weigh in on it. And we're looking forward to seeing everybody there. It's going to wrap it up for today's webinar. Look forward to the survey coming over to your inbox here soon with some questions. Get them all corrected. You have a chance to win some Proctor bucks. All right. So Andrea, thanks for all your help today. Really appreciate it.
My pleasure.
And special thanks to Brian again. With it, it's going to wrap up our session. Everyone, go serve big. We'll talk to you soon. Thanks.